here, and I wanted to welcome everyone. We will celebrate Gary's life and enjoy some stories and some refreshments and definitely some music. So I welcome the honored guests, the Mayor's Office, Frank Stramella, City Council members, Gary's girls, Kara, Katie, Kim, our station management, and the St. Pat Choir. And with that, I will ask Frank Stramella to say some words from the Mayor's Office.
Good morning. My name is Frank Stramella. I'm the media strategist for the City of Erie. The mayor had cleared his calendar this morning to be here. Unfortunately, he had a death in the family, and he had needed to be with his family this morning. But I am honored to be here. He wanted to express his sincere appreciation for everything that Gary did in his life, and this sign is just a small token of the city's appreciation and recognition of that. Hundreds, if not thousands, of athletes from youth to professional sports were interviewed by Gary, and win, lose, or tie, he always made the interviewee feel like $1 million. Gary was one of a kind and will always be missed. It is our hope that this sign can act not only as a navigational point for residents, but also those journalists looking to find their way in sports journalism. Because you don't have to look much further than Gary for an example. Thank you, and I'd like to now invite Councilwoman Allen to say a few words.
I'm here kind of wearing three hats today. One is as a longtime journalist in the city of Erie. We all know that maybe we were competitive, but we were all really part of a larger community. So I'm here to say thank you on behalf of City Council for coming up with this idea to honor Gary. And my third hat is as an usher for the Erie Seawolves. My husband works in the Erie Seawolves press box, and I also sometimes go to St. Pat's, so I know what a great voice Gary had as a cantor. But my husband also has a good voice. He's in the St. Andrew's choir, and he and Gary were talking about singing the national anthem at the Seawolves. And I was thinking there must be something about these sports guys who also have good singing voices. So I'm thrilled to be here today to hear the St. Pat's choir and to be part of this honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott McDowell, our news director. Any words?
Good morning, everybody. What a year we've had. So great to see Gary's daughters here. What I'd like to do briefly with everybody is if we could just have a moment of silence for Gary and for the hundreds of thousands of people that we have lost through this pandemic. So just a brief moment of silence. Thanks, everybody. You know, I think about how many times Gary has come through those doors. Gary has walked into this building. How many of you have known Gary a lot longer than I have? I look at Lisa, I look at Mike, and the years, Mark, the years of experience that Gary brought to this television station. And it's all about the relationships, when you really think about it, the relationships that he made in the community. Yeah, he covered Super Bowls. Yeah, he covered all of the bigs and the Stanley Cups. You name it. But when it came right down to it, it was a community that he loved, the high schools, the local level stuff. That made such a difference with Gary. And to see him sit down, yeah, Gary, guess what? We're going to go cover the NFL draft. He'd be all over the NFL draft coming to Cleveland in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know, you think about stuff like that. That was big, but it was all the people that were in the community that made all the difference there. And I think that's what really stuck with me with Gary. Gary would have had 36 years in and would have started in 1984. So what I want to do is let's take a look back at 1984. I'll put the glasses on. 1984, when Gary started. The LA Raiders won the Super Bowl. Masters by Ben Crenshaw. The Olympics coming up right here, station. The Olympics in LA. World Series won by Detroit. Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. All when Gary started. Purple Rain came out by Prince. To give you a little bit of a snapshot of when he started. The Natural, shot and filmed in Buffalo, baseball movie, came out when Gary first started in this industry. I think about all the change that we've had over the course of a year. you know, one thing stays the same: the legacy that he brought to this station, the kindness that he brought to everybody that he touched, and a sports department here that'll carry on a huge part of that as well going forward. And it's just so nice to know that we've got this coming down through our alley to remember him forever. It's great to see. And I want to bring John Leidick up too, because I know John worked hand in hand. I know he's got a few words he'd like to say. So come on up, John.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Certainly not going to be easy to speak today, but also a celebration, because I remember the first time I came through here. Every day when I was working on the news side, I'd always walk through and I'd say to Gary, hey, Gary, did you see this today? And he'd go, no, John, thanks so much. You know, and kind of we created that bond there. And I'll never forget the day I got to go into the sports department for the first time. It felt right, and you know, it felt right because he welcomed me with such a warm spirit. And you know, moving up here, you move away from your family. But when I was here at the station, it kind of felt like a piece of my dad was here. Because of the way Gary treated me, treated all of us really. You know, as Scott so eloquently put, he carried on those legacies from covering the Super Bowls, but the athletes are what he always would tell me, make sure that you make those athletes feel as important as somebody that's on the stage at the Super Bowl. You know, and he taught me so many things from just being a sportscaster, doing it the right way here with local coverage, but more importantly, how to be a good person. Him and I spent so much time together, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't talk about his wonderful 3 daughters. And I felt like I was connected to your family. I felt like a part of your family. And as I said a year ago, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share so much time with him, because he truly was a special man, and someone that I'll look up to forever, because I know he's watching down on all of us today. Thank you again for everyone for being here and sharing this wonderful moment.
Thanks, John. You know, and guys, you look at our road. We actually got some paving done on this because of Pam and Gary. So we come down here, we're not driving through potholes. We got so much to thank all the way across. And that's the easiest way to bring in our corporate vice president of news, Brian Trowering. So I know he'd like to say a few words on behalf of the corporate structure here at Lilly Broadcasting and how much Gary meant. So, Mr. Trowering, please.
Thanks, Scott. On behalf of Lilly Broadcasting, and particularly Brian Lilly, Kevin Lilly, and our COO, John Christensen, who is out of town today, couldn't be here, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Good morning. I also want to thank the City Council, the Mayor's Office, and everyone who was connected to making this event happen, because it's a special day as we remember fondly our late colleague and friend. So, without further ado, you don't want to hear from me. You'd much rather hear from these folks back here. So I present the choir from St. Pat's.
Oops. I'm sorry. Gary is laughing. A stick, a pole, anything. Priceless. Gary would do that.
Guys, look at it this way. Gary's always had a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah, drama.
I'm telling a story here.
Here we go. Uh-oh.
And leave it to Matt Filippi. Here he comes.
Matt, go Matt.
Save the day.
Go Matt. The good old Swifter. The good old Swifter. Katie, Tim, and Kara, we want to present each one with the lanyards that Gary used to wear.
Small snapshot.
Can you take your masks off just to get a good picture? Before and after. Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay. Very nice, thank you. And everybody is welcome. There's the blue tent there, there's refreshments there, and anybody's welcome. We're trying to not take you into the station, even though we'd love to do that, but because of COVID, but feel free to linger as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you for having us. I had my cry. I heard you practicing. I'm in there trying to linger.